Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about quests and cannons, and this is published by Short Hop Games.
This is a game, as you can imagine, that is filled with quests.
And cannons.
And cannons. You are roaming the board, you're kind of doing a pick up and deliver to satisfy these various quests, but there's going to be enemies roaming the board as well, and you can attack them. You attack them with cannons. It's kind of a clever combat situation. Let me show you how it plays on the table. All right, here is our individual player board for quests and cannons. It's this really awesome ship with this kind of recessed board where all the different slots are going to go for all your different items. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to choose a character. So there's 3 different factions. There's the kind of the pigs, the bunnies, and then there's the birds. They all have different names, and I'm not going to go over that, but they all have different names and themes and special abilities. Right now, let's just go with this guy who's on top. Got a special spot right on the board for you. There's a special ability that he has, but also it tells you what kind of starting abilities he's going to have. So he starts with one of our sails. Sails are going to give us extra movement, which I'll show you that later. He's going to start with one of the cannons. And he has 3 cargo spots. Now, all these are going to be upgradable. And it also tells you that over here as well. I can have a max of 2 sails. I can have a max of 4 cannons, so all 4 cannon spots. And I can have a max of 5 of the cargo spaces. There's going to be various spots on the board where you can pay resources and gold in order to get those extra things. So, for instance, if we were to pay 3 gold and a canvas, we could get an extra sail to get extra movement. Now, these dice act as our cannon ammunition as well. So, in addition to having more cannons, you can also buy ammunition for 1 gold is going to equal 2 dice. The way the combat's going to work is, once you roll, you can roll as many dice as you have cannons. When you do that, you're going to exhaust the cannons, showing they've already been fired by flipping them over. In this case, we've only got the 1. But we would roll that dice, and what you're going to do is you're going to divide the pips by 4, and that's how many hits you have. In this case, we only rolled a 2. You probably want to, get some more cannons before you decided to attack someone. But yeah, in this case, we did not do any damage. But at the beginning of our next turn, this would refresh, and we'd be ready to attack again. We also start with a little bit of gold here, and then we're going to get some more as the game goes on. This is going to be our dice that we use to try to get through some of the more trickier spots on the board. Every player is also going to get a set of these player aids. It's going to help us tell us, how we're going to get through those tricky spots of the board, what the different ratios for trading, there's going to be some trading opportunities, where you can do certain actions from, and how much things cost, and what the action points are. So all that's kind of right there for you. If someone were to attack us and we got some damage, we would take one of these, cover up one of our hearts, showing that we've been damaged. If we ever cover up all those hearts, our boat sinks, and we have to basically kind of reset the board a little bit. We're never out of the game. There's no player elimination, but you do lose some of your progress. Here is the main player board. Our 3 factions are represented by the 3 corners of the board, and in the middle here we have all our different places that we're going to discover. Now, this is a modular board, so it can be set up in a ton of different ways based off the number of players, based off how you're playing it, whether you're playing it as a cooperative, as a solo, how difficult you want it to be set up. So there's just a ton of variability in how you can set up this modular board. On these different corners here, we have quests, we have some loot cards, we also have some map clues up at the top there. Those are not specific to those regions, that's just where they sit on the board. Now we've got our resources, we've got canvas, lumber, and we have metal over here. Then we have kind of our more rare ones, we have spice and we have gems over here. But where do you get those items from? Well, basically that's the first thing we're going to do on our turn is we're going to kind of search those out. Here's our boat. We are going to take 3 actions. Remember, we have those sails. We can use those sails instead of actions. So, for instance, these ones right here, these take 2 actions to get through. So if you went here, that'd be 1 action. If you want to get through here, it'd take 2 actions. So 1, 2, and you'd have to use a sail for that one. And then 3, you'd get here. Now those question mark tiles, that shows that island has been unexplored. So you flip that over. It's gems. All right, so you're going to get a gold coin for showing that you've been the first person to discover that island. And now, if you end your turn on one of those islands, you also get to draw a quest card. This is the main way you're going to get points in the game. That's really the whole goal, is to get to 15 points. We've got a tracker along the bottom here. Whoever gets to 15 points first is going to be the winner. And again, quests are the main way to get points. There's all different quests. There's things like this. This one says, if you deliver a medal and a gem to either the wind shear tree or the squirrel-bound librarium, you're going to get a couple points, a loot card, and some gold coins. There's a more challenging one. This one says deliver 3 different items to only one specific place, but it's worth 5 points and 5 coins and 1 loot. That's really cool. And there's other ones that aren't pick up and deliver at all. This one just says travel through one of the treacherous seas and roll a 4, 5, or 6. It's only worth 1 point, but still, there's extra cool stuff like that in there. All these different quest cards are going to give you points, and that's going to be the main way you get those points. Some of those quests are also going to give you some loot cards. Loot cards can be any number of special actions, but there's 2 things really that it boils down to. Ones are one-time abilities. This one says, when your ship sinks, all ships within one space of your ship take 3 hull damage. So it kind of de-incentivizes people to go after you. But there's also these blue ones here. These are equipments that you can add to your ship. They have a cost of what it takes to equip them, but once you put them on your board, they're there forever. This one says, once per turn, you may move up to 2 spaces as a free action, as long as you end this movement on a space with a rival ship. So that gives you kind of a little bit of aggression action. You can kind of move faster towards people to attack them. There's a ton of different kinds of loot cards, but it boils down to either one-time use cards or equipment that you can add onto your ship. Now, the last kind of card over here is those map clues. Those are kind of like quests in a way, but they're much, much simpler. Like here's one. This one says, as an action, while you're at the Lettuce Sands, spend an action to complete this map clue, then draw a new map clue. Gain either a point or a loot card. So these are just really simple. All you have to do is just go to a place and spend an action, and it gives you, a map clue. So it's kind of thematically within the quests and canons world, you're getting those clues, and you can get points or loot, which is really nice. All right, so back to our boat. We've already spent our 3 actions, so we're done with our turn there. However, on our next turn, we can actually spend actions to get gems from that island. So we might say, I want 2 of them. So 1 action, 2 action, and our 3rd action's going to be to go over here. We're going to use a sail to move 2 spaces instead of just 1. And again, we're going to get a coin for flipping this over. And then now this is a lumber spot. And again, because we ended on a tile, we're going to get a quest card. That's really all there is to the game. You are sailing around the board, trying to discover more and more islands that are going to give you resources. You're going to mine those islands to get the resources, and then you're going to, using those quests, drop off those resources at various spots on the board in order to get victory points. Now, you can also get some points by attacking other people. So if you ever sink another person's ship, you're going to get one of those prosperity victory points. So it's very advantageous to be defensive or offensive, depending on which way you want to go. But again, the main way is if you can avoid everyone, that's the way you want to do it. Get those quest cards. Lots and lots of points there. But it is quests and cannons, so be ready for a little aggression as well. Now, the end of the game is going to be triggered when one player hits that 15-point mark, and then after that, every other player is going to get one more turn to try to beat them. However, there's also a team version of the game. You can play either 3-on-3 or 2-on-2-on-2. And when that happens, you're going to 20 points. Same thing happens. It's a race to 20 points. Everybody else gets 1 extra turn to try to beat that if you get to that point first. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins.
I thought the factions were really interesting. I particularly liked the artwork for the warrior bunnies. Or little tree thing that they lived in. That was really fun for me. I really liked that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole kind of world building, situation. There's different lore behind all 3 of the factions, and that really played well into the artwork as well, and it kind of bled over into that, so you kind of knew which faction was what just at a glance.
Yeah.
The modular board was really interesting. There was all these different city tiles where the quests were going to happen. There was the rough waters. There was the the tentacly waters. They all had different movement rules. There was even depending on what scenario you were playing, straight up just this is impassable. You can't even go here. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with those modular tiles. Now it did make setup kind of challenging. You wanted to make sure you make it you did the right setup for the right scenario. But as long as you're following the chart, you'll be fine.
I really liked the recessed boards to hold everything in.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever faction you were being, and then there's different characters within that, you could just slide it right into the board, and then all the little carts and stuff are crates, not carts, crates that you would have, and all the cannons. It was just all sat in there really nicely. I'm a huge fan of recessed boards. We have small children. Enough said.
Things get bumped.
Yes.
every single time.
All the time. All the time.
The way the combat in this game was awesome. Based on how many cannons you had, you could shoot that many cannonballs, which made sense. And the cannonballs were these dice which you would be able to roll. And then the higher the value, the more likely you'd be to do damage. So you basically took the total, divided by 4. So even 2 cannons could, in theory, with a really good die roll, do 3 damage. Or maybe with some bad rolls, you do 0 damage. So the more cannons you had, the more that kind of upped your chances. And even when you did get sunk, it wasn't catastrophic, right?
Yeah.
You still got to, reset a little bit, and, it did set you back, but it wasn't like your game was just over.
Yeah.
Which, that would have been a bummer if it had been like that.
The 2-player version is so challenging. I feel like this game shines at the 2v2v2. That's how we say it, right? That's how the cool kids say it.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm a cool kid.
You sure are, dear.
But I just think that the combat that happens with that, along with trying to get your quest accomplished, just really shines with that.
The art was just super vivid. Like we mentioned a little earlier, it fit really well in with the different factions and the lore and the background of all the different factions. But it was just so vivid. So many games are just kind of it doesn't progress the game along.
Yeah.
But this was just made you want to dig in deeper and want to go to those different places. And what's the background of that? You want to dig in deeper. So the colors and the artwork were just really, really vivid, really, really strong. All right, you guys, we thought this was a really fun one, and like you said, the artwork and the components really kind of took it to the next level for us, especially if you can get more players. If you can get that 4-player mark or that 6-player mark, it's really going to shine there. You guys, this is coming to Kickstarter soon, so be sure to keep an eye out for it. If anything we said sounded interesting to you, I think you'll like it.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to us so you can see our videos as they come out. You can also find us on Facebook. We're Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we're Ryan and Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.